Aloha nui kako. O hilo paliku oi, o hilo one oi, o hilo hanakahi oi. O kaua kanilehua oi. It just started raining here in Hilo. Aloha ahi ahi kako. And mahalo for joining us today. I'm Hope Pualani McKeen, a Hawaiian language culture resource teacher at Keonepoko Elementary. I also serve as the chair of the Hawaii State Teacher Association's Government Relations Committee. And we're super excited tonight to have Senator Laura Acasio that represents Hilo Paliku, represents Hilo One, and represents Hilo Hanakahi in our state Senate. HSTA has recommended Senator Acasio for re-election because we know she will do the best job representing this diverse community and the largest city on Hawaii Island. We're going to chat for the next half hour or so about issues of statewide importance. So even if you don't live in Hilo or the Hilo area and can't vote for Senator Acasio, we know you will still be interested in what we're talking about. Let's meet our other teacher leaders that are with us today. And I'm going to start with Tiffany.
Aloha, my name is Tiffany Edwards Hunt. I'm an 8th grade social studies teacher at Kea'au Middle School. I'm a member of HSTA's Government Relations Committee, representing our Hilo chapter. NAOMI?
Aloha, my name is NAOMI CALISTRO. I'm a 5th grade special education inclusion teacher at Waiakea Elementary School. I'm also a member of HSTA's Government Relations Committee representing our Hilo chapter. Senator?
Aloha, my name is Laura Acasio. I'm state senator for Hilo. First of all, I just wanted to say thank you so much to everyone on this panel for having me and everyone behind the scenes who's putting it together. It's an incredible honor. I have been representing District 1, which goes from Panaeva now all the way out to Pepe'ekeo. It includes Keaukaha and Kaumana, including all of Waiakea, all the way to Waiakea Kai, industrial area, downtown Hilo. And of course, that includes Wainaku, Kaiviki, Pauka'a, and Papai'iko. But really important for me to call those names because it holds the mana of where we represent. And of course, there's many, many more. I've been serving in the state Senate for the past 2 years. I'm a member of the Judiciary Committee, the Agriculture and Environment Committee, Human Services, and Hawaiian Affairs. The decisions that we make, of course, affect everyone in the state, not just here in Hilo. So I take my job very seriously in that effect. And I also am an educator. I have been an educator for nearly 20 years. I've worked in various different capacities in helping, helping in different capacities throughout many schools throughout our district. I'm married to an iron worker. He's retired now. His name is Lionel, and he is from Nanakuli, Oahu. He's been in service with the Iron Workers Union and vested for 30 years. We're both raising our 2 boys here in Hilo, and they are teenagers. That's it for now. Thank you for having me.
Mahalo for taking time to come talk story with us tonight. I know it gets a little bit nervous. We were all a little bit nervous before we got on here. So be kind to us as you watch us. But let's start off by talking about what made you choose to become a senator.
Thank you for that question. I actually have been involved in community organizing for my whole life. It definitely stems from my experience as a child, growing up and being dragged to different events and political endeavors, social action opportunities, and basically anywhere we can use our voice as a community in civic leadership positions. And so, that's my life. And, I have been involved in the Democratic Party for about maybe since 2016 on a regular basis, and I've held different officer positions, district chair. I've been a state central committee representative across the state for Hilo for the past 6 years, and actually just ended that this past a few months ago. At any rate, I saw this opportunity when then Senator Congressman Kahele went to Congress and there was an opening, and I thought to myself, it's very often that we have our leaders in our community that don't, it doesn't always align with the values that I see. And I kept feeling like, oh, I hope somebody really good puts their name in that has values that connect to our community. And not that our opponents don't necessarily, but I just really felt like I have something to offer in this position in terms of staying connected with our community and being accessible to community. And really feeling like here's the time. And so since I felt like I have all that qualifies me as much as anyone else to contribute to this conversation. And so I put my name in the hat. And the things that I have learned in being senator really reconfirm so much of our life's work and so much of the connections that we have created and relationships that we've created in community to be the voice of people, to be the voice of our place, and to really reflect that love and aloha that we have for our place.
Thank you, Senator. At the start of the 2022 legislative session, tell us what were your top 3 priorities and what was successful. Which of your top 3 priorities were you most proud of?
Okay, so we do have to narrow things down. There are many, many issues that we are working on and building civic engagement around and building leadership and this discourse within our colleagues. However, we're all asked to pick 3 priorities at the beginning of the session to share with our colleagues and that we wish to push forward. And so menstrual equity was my top priority. And I have to say that that was a success, and I'm so grateful to all of the players. And I'll get into that because that was my biggest success. I do want to mention, though, that we had extended producer responsibility, which is a zero waste initiative, placing packaging responsibility on the top 20 producers. It doesn't affect producers here in Hawaii. It actually only reaches out and calls on and engages the top 20 producers. So producers like Danone, Mars, Unilever, is enormous worldwide corporations, and they're waiting and they have monies available to invest in reuse, refill, and all of these kinds of zero waste initiatives. And so we're engaging them in this process to help support that they will end up funding some of our projects here statewide to reduce our waste and to be more cognizant of the fact that we live on an island. And then the third is our Hilo wastewater treatment facility. And while that is a much more Hilo focused initiative, we were collaborating and working very closely with the federal delegation, especially Congressman Kahele's office, with the county, with EPA, with multiple agencies within the state and the county, and Department of Environmental Management, to really look at our situation, because it's incredibly critical that we create solutions to our Hilo wastewater treatment facility before there's a failure. Otherwise, it becomes a really enormous public health issue, and address it before it's too late. And so we're working with agencies to collaborate on funding and capacity building and such for those projects. Quickly back to menstrual equity, which is my top priority. And I think it's relevant to all of us teachers here today. As a teacher, I know that it's an incredible need. It's something that many teachers and professionals within the school system provide from their own budgets. And so yet another place where we can take the burden off of our teachers who do it out of their own goodness of their heart, as opposed to, and it's something that as a state, we need to address these issues of poverty and inequity in every space that we're in. And so here was an opportunity. I hope you can hear me over the Hilo Ua, because it definitely started dumping right now. But so here's an opportunity to really look at where learning loss occurs based on poverty and inequity. And I think yes, there is so much to the actual fact that now the state will provide these free of cost to anyone who menstruates. But I think beyond that is a couple of things. It really fostered civic hope and civic faith amongst the students who brought this forward, the teachers who really championed it. I want to just honor them. The community groups that came together, like Ma'i Movement, and also state agencies like Hawaii State Commission on the Status of Women and all the work that they've done. So here's a perfect example of this collaborative effort that really builds a lot of discourse around issues that we need to be focusing on as a state, and where we can improve our endeavors. So thank you for that question. I'm so proud that it passed.
Thank you, Senator. And I really appreciate you summarizing those top priorities that truly will help improve the lives of our people here on the island. As an educator, we can definitely see where there is a lot of menstrual inequity, and that conversation really helped to raise a lot of awareness. And also your initiatives related to wastewater and extended producer responsibility, so important living here on the island. Let's transition if we can. As a senator, what kind of unique traits and skills do you offer your colleagues? This is a two-part, so if I can repeat it. And how do you translate those unique traits and skills to the community? So first with the colleagues and then with the community.
Okay, I think first and foremost, and this goes for colleagues and community, is professionalism. There is, you know, an incredible importance to being able to have very difficult conversations with people with multiple perspectives on an issue. Because naturally, as a senator, if it's a divisive issue, you're going to have 50% of the people telling you vote one way and 50% of the people to vote another way. And so it's really about being a bridge and helping the conversation and helping each side to see different parts. I mean, not so much as a mediator, but there is a role of that. And it's to be able to also not be afraid of having those conversations and to show up in the conversations that are requested. And even sometimes if it's not requested, to be able to see the leadership value in calling meetings and even if they're uncomfortable. Because, you know, a lot of times there's going to be assumptions, there's going to be distrust. We have a history of distrust for our government, and I completely understand it. I'm coming from that place. And so I want to be a catalyst to really not only heal that, but to inspire others to take these roles. And another piece too that I do bring is that I'm a regular person. I do have a college degree. I love to read. I'm engaged. I've been engaged for years. I know a lot of people. All of these things are important, but I think a lot of people can look at themselves and say, hey, I'm that person too. And if they have that moment of opportunity, that they can step into roles, whether it be on boards and commissions, whether it be, you know, running for city council, county council, these different things, or putting your name in the hat for Senate. And then they see themselves reflected, and we recognize that our government is supposed to be for the people, by the people, not an elite, far away, untouchable thing that no one can ever get a hold of. So something that I bring the community in that is that I'm collaborative by nature. I'm a problem solver. And yet, believe it or not, I get to see everyone's joys and all the good things they're doing. And also everyone shares what's wrong. And I get it, I see it. Houselessness and those experiencing homelessness is something I experience because I live near downtown. I've seen the changes, and I talk with the business community. So I know, you know, where they're coming from at it. I also talk with the unsheltered population and try to get feedback as to how to help them. And then I want to talk with the county and, you know, put all of these things together. So I think it's really important. The biggest piece is that accessibility, that transparency, and the collaboration. And ultimately I have the energy. I'm, you know, I still in the prime of my life, and I really truly care about Hilo. I care about Hawaii. So to be of service in that is a gift. Actually, it's a gift to me. It's a gift also to the community. So I can go on about that when we're talking about you know, campaign finance reform and all of those kinds of things that need to happen, but we'll save that if we get an opportunity.
Yeah, mahalo, Senator Acasio. I'm going to take a quick pause right now and switch a little gears for HSTA because elections truly do matter for education. Yeah, every vote for an election is a vote for education, for public education, and so it does matter to us, and so we really need our membership to get out and vote. And what we also need you to do is come sign wave with us. So our wonderful communications team has set up and our leadership has set up a fantabulous contest for our membership to win a free iPad Air and HSTA swag bags. I know you think you're not going to be cool with HSTA swag bags, but I think you're going to be cool. I think you're going to be the cool kid on campus. But what you have to do is, so we want everybody to enter this contest. So show up to Sign Wave in your respective areas, and how you do it, you need to attend a sign waving for an HSTA recommended candidate, take a selfie or group photo and upload it to the contest portal. The contest will be running through August 13th, which is the day of the Hawaii primary election. And it is located at, I think it's www.hsta.signwaving giveaway 22 for, yes. So let me say that again, www.hsta.signwaving giveaway 22. And I think it's up on the screen. So please enter and come sign, well, actually really come sign wave with us, because sometimes we get lonely, right? Naomi and Tiffany, we get lonely when we sign waving. Come hang out with us. We're kind of cool people. Back to Senator Acasio now. I'm going to just take a few seconds to kind of say a little bit about how I know Senator Acasio. I've been actually pretty fortunate, besides this process of being on government relations and working with her straight out of when she got into office. She was jamming right from the beginning and supporting teachers and being there for us. But I also got to see her in a parent perspective, because her son and my son are classmates, and she and I never really like hung out at the beach or anything on the weekend, but we always did parent things together. And we also served on our school board together. And I must say, no matter the conversation, she never shied away from a super difficult conversation and always held extreme professionalism, which was so very important, and took such good care of my son, who's a little bit kolohe. If he's seeing this right now, he's gonna be like, Mom, how are you gonna say that for? But when they got to go on a 5th grade, long time ago, excursion to Oahu, I was so grateful to her and her husband, Lionel, for taking such great care of him. He had a blast. But this just shows her character and how she's committed to our community. And so with that, in what ways are you available and accessible to our community?
Oh, okay. First of all, thank you for those kind words. Well, so first of all, I am of the community. So I think that's significant. And again, not reflecting on anyone else, but really just saying that, you know, the things we love to do on the weekend is volunteer work, and we like to be engaged. We like to stay informed about what kind of issues are coming up for us in our community, and really stay present and engaged with those conversations. So, you know, that's a really big piece. A perfect example is I attend as many community forums and community association meetings as I possibly can, and am present at all of them to give legislative updates, to inform about what I know is upcoming for them, especially things that might be relevant, to be there and hear their own issues of the in the community, meeting with as many groups as possible, staying connected with organizations that are boots on the ground doing the work that we're trying to focus on, and really creating relationships and continuing to have liaisonships with these community organizations so that as we move forward, and especially during legislative session, a perfect example is bills will come up and sometimes you look and there's not much testimony, but you know that it's an important issue. And so I feel like it's my due diligence, not only to read it, is to research it and to reach out to those in the community that I know have some input on that issue. And I'm not looking for a specific pro or anti testimony. I want their honest feedback, because really our job is to make the legislation better and to hear the voices of the community and the possible things that unintentional consequences, as they say, right? And so to really look at that and reach out into the community it's important then to have relationships with people who are engaging in those things. So like I said, even prior to being a legislator, I like to attend public forums and there a lot of times, sometimes I do speak and I've given testimony multiple times at the county council, but often I follow what the narrative is. I try to understand the pieces. I try to do the research. I do want to share something. It's a little bit risky to just divulge it with perhaps a large audience, but again, in the spirit of transparency, it's really important. One of the biggest things that I learned in the first 2 weeks of being in the Senate is don't read the bills. And that was shocking for me. I hope you guys are thinking, what did she just say? Did she just say don't read the bills? Yeah, don't read the bills. Just follow what the chair and what leadership tell you. And to me, again, as a regular person wishing for representation by the people, that was shocking. And so I read every single word. And I will continue to read every single word and do my due diligence. Again, I might not always make the same decisions that every single, one of our viewers here or everyone is interested in. But I think really ultimately taking the time to not just do what is status quo or what will get me elected or what will get me large donations for my campaign contributions or whatever, or friends. It was told to me, make friends with everyone. And I love friends. Anyone who knows me knows that I love people, I love engaging, and I love friends. But on a professional level, I would love to be friends with my friends and colleagues. And I have many that I respect and who mentor me and vice versa, who respect me. But it's really important that we understand that what happens in that building affects us all. And therefore, it's not only, like you said, Pua, it's so important to vote and use that voice, because if we don't, somebody else will. And I think that's why I'm a representative for the people, ultimately, and the land, is because I have to look at every individual piece of legislation and read between the lines and ask the questions. And you guys might even be on that end where I'm asking a hard question, but the honest truth is we want the answer, because why? We want to make this place thrive. We want to do what's best for our place and our people, and make sure that ultimately make sure people have housing, make sure people have a living wage and enough that they can afford housing, that they can, send their kids to schools where they're loved and enriched, and that we as a state create that opportunity. So one more thing I'll add just really quickly is that the governor, I know that the governor right off the bat is going to select three BOE members. And as a legislature, we confirm them, but I take that job seriously too in terms of interviewing the candidates, because if we want a transformative system, we have to be appointing transformative people. And we're at a hopefully here, and we're at this transition period where if we go there now, we're going to do incredible work. And so as a legislator, what I bring is wanting to collaborate with that next governor and really, bring suggestions from my community. I've already been asking around, and I have my own feelings already because I've been a board member at a Hawaiian immersion public charter school on the executive board for 7 years. And my children have been students at schools, this charter school, and I've taught at most schools in Hilo. And again, that doesn't make me the expert on schools by all means, but it brings in that component of knowing how we can really transform education and do place-based experiential learning out of the box in a way that will really expand who we are as a community and a state and a people.
Thank you, Senator Acasio. The next question is more just to kind of get to know you as a person. So you've shared how you're involved in the community, many ways that you're involved in your community. And we know that senators have a crazy busy schedule. And you talked about how you have all this extra energy. So what do you do in your free time that you happen to have?
Right, so a lot less free time now that I've been a state senator, and it's okay because I understand that it's an incredible kuleana and that I responded to that on purpose. But I love to surf. On our days off, our home break, you'll find us down there, especially early in the morning before the sun gets too hot. We love to contribute to community service in all ways, shapes, or forms. So any opportunity we get, whether it's during the COVID to stuff kupuna bags just behind the scenes, no need acknowledgement, no need anything, just show up and do the work with friends. That's good fun. Drive them to Kona for because they needed a transportation for half of the bags to go to that side, whatever it has. Work in our friends lo'i. I've been remiss and haven't been able to go down to the local i'a, the fish ponds down in Keaukaha, but I would, I dream of that as a day off. My first day off in a very, very, very long time was La Ho'iho'i'eha. We went up to Pa'uilo and saw lots of friends and family, and that was beautiful. But yeah, I love to read too. So that's the part, is it's hard to take a day off when there's so much to read. There's always new articles coming up. There's, new programs and projects that we're working on here at the Capitol, in our office. And so there's research to do about that. But yeah, and I love just dinner with friends, especially around a homegrown meal, if we can, source it as much locally as possible. And that's something that I really also want to continue to champion, along with Representative Amy Peruso. She's been a great champion for that too, and the Farm to Table. And I was able to introduce that bill on the Senate side, because she had asked me to, and it really resonated with a lot of the work that I do as a garden teacher. So same thing, I love to work in my yard and garden as well.
Senator Acasio, I just wanted to tell you thank you so much for reading the bills and for really reaching us authentically as a community. I know you pay attention to other areas aside from your own. I know that you pay attention to Puna issues. I can feel your authenticity and I appreciate it. Moving forward, what are your top 3 priorities?
Awesome question. Thank you, Tiffany. I think overarching priority for me as a legislator is to continue to work really closely with the new commission to improve the standards of conduct at the Capitol and within our government. And so what that means is getting the corrupting influence of money out of our elections. It has to do with increasing transparency and accountability for us as legislators. A big perfect example is when the legislature passed the Sunshine Law, they exempted themselves, which means every agency, every government agency is required to post their agenda ahead of time, have all of their comments be public. if any of you have watched or been part of the legislative process in the Senate and the House, we are allowed to, sadly, I think, we are allowed to go behind the scenes, basically on Zoom, go off camera, turn off the mics, have discussions. And so the public really doesn't get a clear understanding of A, what's happening, B, who is lobbying for what. And really truthfully, we're able to lobby behind the scenes and, you know, kill bills or pass bills, promote bills without any public accountability. And I think that is a huge tragedy in our democratic process here as we speak. And actually most states have a sunshine law for their Senate and their House. So I think it's time for us to come into the sunshine. I actually was really astonished when I became a senator, and I knew it existed, but to experience it is really jaw-dropping. And so other things too that are priorities within that context are campaign finance reform. There's a whole slew and a slate of bills that we will be championing that will effectively reduce the influence of money and corruption within the legislature. One of the things that's been brought to my attention is that private practice attorneys as chairs is very problematic, and it needs to be a practice that's stopped ultimately, because what happens is, as an attorney, a client can come in and give maybe a $50,000 retainer, for example, and it's only between the two parties what is discussed. So there's never any, you know, it creates, doesn't mean that everyone who is a private practice attorney is doing this kind of behavior, but what it creates is an environment of distrust. And it creates an environment where even if there's an appearance of unethical behavior, again, it reduces our civic engagement, again, which is a big part of the issues that we're having in terms of low voter turnout. And why bother? You know, so often it's like, why bother? It's all rigged. Everyone's corrupt. And I'm here to say that not everyone is corrupt. And while I do see incredible opportunities for corruption, and I've seen some pretty incredible things in the past 2 years that I promise I will write a book on, there are some incredible mentors who care about our community. And so to steer it back in that direction, I think will create a sense of trust, and that's a big priority. Locally, I would say ending homelessness and really addressing the key housing issues, whether it's access to housing or exorbitant rent costs or exorbitant house prices because of speculation and out-of-state investments. I hear it over and over again, and I know it's true, that there are these investment companies that come in and buy sight unseen cash offers. There's no way our people can compete. And there are some really radical steps to take in order to do that. We need people in there that are bold and are willing to do that. And I'm one of them. And I do see that. And again, part of that is because I'm not taking monies from, large landowners or these different things. And so a lot of it has to do with ideology as well. I also will continue to work on this Waste to Wealth project, which is ultimately an economic revitalization in Hilo, and also continue to work on the wastewater issues, as well as access to mental health care and healthcare services. That's a huge issue for our community, both Keiki to Kupuna. I look forward to working with Hilo Medical Center to build a birth center that is appropriate for our community and driven by the community. And so again, continuing to take leadership roles in areas across the board that really affect all of us. Of course, the list is forever. I can talk to you about those, but those are some top priorities for us right now. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Senator Acasio. I'm gonna wrap this up this evening with, as I was listening to you talk, and I was kind of actually having this in the back of my mind all week, and I've been kind of saving it for you. I've kind of had the opportunity to introduce some of our other recommended candidates, and I always choose an olelo no'eau that kind of fits why we chose them and why well, it's kind of really my perspective of what the work they're gonna do. And so I want to wrap it up with this Olelo No'eau from that talks about our land, and it's Heali I Ka'aina He Kaua Ke Kanaka. And I truly do believe, after speaking with you and getting a chance to talk about the issues with you, that you are a servant to our land and to our people, and truly humbled that we have someone like this running for office. And so it was an extremely great conversation tonight. And Hilo area folks, I really hope you vote Acasio on that ballot. She really does love Hilo and is there to support us as a community. And she has a great track record of community service and is so articulate and a thoughtful leader. And we really, really urge you to vote Acasio. So mahalo, Senator, for being here tonight, this evening, and talking story with us. And mahalo for everything that you did for our community, menstrual equity. Shout out to Millie, because she's going to be super happy that I just said that. And all the menstrual equity people, you know, we're menstruators right here. And it's so very important for our community to uplift women. And so please, everyone, remember to vote. Please vote. Go to your mailbox, get your ballot, and vote. And if you haven't registered yet, you can still register to vote online. And you can also do same-day registration. You can vote, you can register to vote online, and you can also do the county clerk's office in Hilo. It's at the Aupuni Center. And again, the primary election is August 13th. So please have your ballots back to the county clerk's office by then. And again, your vote matters. And when you vote for HSTA recommended candidates, you're voting for strong supporters of public education. We have a list that you can access if you're curious on who HSTA recommended. And it's HSTA, it's at hsta.org/primary2022 /primary2022. Again, it's hsta.org/primary2022. Primary 22. Those 20s get away from me. And for our members, please make sure that you tell your ohana or encourage your ohana to vote and vote again in the general election in November. That's all the time we have for tonight. But again, really mahalo to my colleagues for showing up tonight. It just started to get super, super hot in Hilo because it was just pouring. It was like the randomest like timing. So mahalo to Tiffany and Naomi for being here. And again, mahalo to Senator Acasio. And everybody have a really, really great evening. Malamapono, and be good to each other. Aloha.